Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. Today I'm going to show you how to turn an old saw blade into a bowl. Hope you guys enjoy this video. It'll be a real quick tutorial. It's going to go much like you're probably imagining, but there's a few tricks to it. So enjoy the video and thanks for watching. Alright, to start this process, there's a few little quick things I'd like to take and point out about saw blades in general. Most of them are a high carbon tool steel. Some of them are lower in carbon content, some of them are higher. The best saw to get is one without carbide teeth. I'm going to forge this one that does have carbide teeth. There's a client of mine that he's done a lot of business with me, and he just decided at a whim, he's like, hey, I want you to make me a saw blade bowl. So that's what we're doing today, and this just happens to be a wore out saw blade, so it all works out better than having to buy a new one just to forge on it. The trick with the carbide teeth is these are insanely hard teeth, and you do not want, if you have a carbide tooth saw, you do not want to take and be using it or hammering it on the surface of your anvil or swage block or any other tool that you care to keep nice. Because although your tool steel top is hard and your hammer is hard, I bet you it is not as hard as that carbide right there. So that'll be one thing to keep caution of. Don't hit these. If you have them, do not hit the carbide teeth themselves with a hammer blow. This is where, once again, entering the shop, a handy dandy leather mallet is really going to take and be beneficial to you if you need to shape on those teeth into a depression of some sort. Like I said, just general rule, if you can help it, don't hit the teeth into anything that you like to keep nice or without hammer marks in it, because it will imprint these into your tooling. That's one of the safety concerns, so that's why I got this leather here. I don't want to mess up my anvil that I've paid for. The other thing, as you see as we go here and we start hammering on this bowl, I'm going to be real careful about this center hole here that you actually mount it to the arbor of the saw. Reason for that being is this will have a tendency, and it will want to take and crack on you. And then you lost the project and you got to start all over. So just something to keep in mind. This isn't mild steel that you're forging on. It is a high carbon tool steel and needs to be treated as such. With that being said, any tool steel that has been put through the gauntlet, I don't care what it is, I try to make sure that I at least anneal it once before I get going. I'll already do this off camera and have all that done in the next shot, and we'll actually get to the forging process so you don't have to watch that. Another handy point is if you have a coal forge, you want to try to pack a flat top to your coke or your coal, and then set this directly on it like so, and then cover it with coke to try to get a nice even heat. It being high carbon, there again, we're treating it like high carbon tool steel. High carbon tool steel does not like to move when it's cold. And so therefore you will stress crack it or you will break it anywhere that it's not hot. So keep that in mind. When you heat these up, you want to bring them up to a nice even heat when you're forging them. And then you do not want to keep hammering on it any less than a red in temperature. And I say red, that's different for multiple people, but I consider red as in you can still see color in the material. If you can still see color, a visible red of some sort, that's the time to stop. Don't stop until don't stop after that has done disappeared, because by then it's probably already too late. You're going to end up having a failure within your next heat or so. What should be a fairly simple project, this just shows you that depending on what materials you choose, it can become a little more technical. Today, I'm going to show you all how I do it in my swage block, and I'll talk a little bit about the swage block and how handy of a tool that can be for you. If you don't have a swage block, you can heat this up and you can hammer it into a wood block that has a depression. But we're going to use the swage block today, and so the next clip, I'll be at the swage block hammering, and we'll talk a little bit about the swage block and what I'm doing, and we'll go from there. Alright, ladies and gents, here we go. We're going to start hitting this into the bowl die of this swage block, being careful to keep that teeth off of the block at all times. Now you see how quickly that turned to black? We're going to take another heat. This is going to happen a lot, so just get used to it. It heats up fairly quick once you get going, and then it also cools just as quick. This is my swage block that I use. It's a green MENGEL. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, so I'm not going to even try. It's a pretty good swage block. It's got a lot of depressions in it, and then it has smaller bowls on the other side. This thing is really handy to have in the shop for making all sorts of radiuses and curves. And believe me, I've made about 10 times, or maybe even 100 times, more money out of this than what I paid for it. So if you're ever at a show and you can pick yourself up a nice swage block that's real clean and doesn't have a lot of chipping and pitting and stuff like that, it can be a really handy addition to your shop. So we got another heat here. I'm going to bring it out and we'll whack at it again. If you'll notice, I'm using a rawhide mallet, and it's cold again, so stop hitting it. So that will work that other side. A rawhide mallet, when you form bowls, hold on a second. Yeah, there we go. Alright. There we go. Okay. Rawhide mallets, when you form bowls with rawhide mallets, they don't leave hammer marks. And sometimes that's what you want, sometimes it's not. I'm mainly using it because I don't care to use any of my hammers to hit the teeth by accident. So if it's on the swage block, which is a soft steel as it is, I can always just smooth it out with a flat disc. It's really annoying to have to do that for your hammers though. So we'll get another heat on it and work out this little wrinkle here. You guys have seen me use this mallet a lot in my videos, or should have by now. And I can't say enough about rawhide mallets. I love them. They, I think they're an underused tool in the shop. You know, you always think, well, I got to have a steel hammer, and I've got to have it. It's got to be a heavy hammer to get the work done and stuff. But a lot of times, a light hammer, you know, a gentleman's touch, will get just as much work done as what a big heavy hammer. And a lot of times, and in many cases, it'll get a lot more work done. So, looks like we got a good heat on that wrinkle. We'll pull it out and we'll go again. Since I'm shooting this in real time, I certainly hope you guys are hearing all this. We will find out. Alrighty. Starting to get some shape here. You guys, I don't know if you can see that. Let's look here. Yeah, we're starting to get that shape going. Essentially, I'll take a little more heat and hammer it a little more, but that's essentially the process. So one more heat, stick with me. After this next heat, we'll be at the anvil and I'll explain a few things to look out for, a few troubleshooting things, and hopefully that'll help you guys out. And you know, you guys can have fun making these. They're pretty simple to do. A lot of times, or most people have an old saw blade laying around somewhere. It just helps to think creatively about stuff in your work. Especially if you hope to make a living as a blacksmith. Sometimes you just got to find that one thing that gives you a little more edge than maybe the next guy. Not necessarily that you do it any better than he does, but if you think a little differently, sometimes that strikes up a chord with your customers. So it's something to think about. Alright, got this up to heat again. Take one last pass and we'll be at the anvil. There we are. So what I was doing there was more or less ironing out a few wrinkles. If you guys can tell, hopefully I'm not speaking too loud into the camera here. If you guys can tell, I'm not nowhere close to being down into the bottom of that swage block. I'm simply just using it as a depression to push metal down into. So you can find a large section of pipe. You could find an old car rim maybe or something like that if it's a big job. The main thing you want to check for is make sure whatever you're hammering down into doesn't have a sharp rim, because that will cut on the back side of your work. I don't know if I can show you that. So you can see a little bit down in there even that I kind of got some lines and stuff working there. But anyways, a few things to think about. The next clip here, I'm going to do a few more passes. Won't make you watch that, but I will be at the anvil, and then I'll show you a few key points here and let you all go. And here we are, folks. This is the finished result. As you can see, it's kind of cool looking. One of the next steps that I'll do, and I won't bore you with all the finishing details. I like to leave a lot of darks in these, in the patina, the finished patina, so I like to leave a lot of the rough forge scale, but I like to highlight my tips to give it that effect like it's a real sharp bowl, like it's still sharp, it can still cut you. So the way I do that is I'll take it to the wire wheel, and I wire wheel all the tips. And at times I've even polished just the tips of every tooth here to just really give it a lot of stark contrast and pop. I seal coat all my stuff with a Rust-Oleum clear coat enamel. I find that has held true for me for, well, I guess, wow, it's been about 9 years now that I've been doing this, so it's always held true for me for the last 9 years. If you live across the pond, I don't even know if they have Rust-Oleum there in your country, but a Rust-Oleum equivalent would do just fine. One thing to note is, however bright you make this, it darkens whenever you put a filter of some kind, which, coating it with paint is a filter, or wax or anything like that. So, you want to experiment around with that a little bit, because you may end up thinking, oh man, those teeth, they look real shiny, and then you spray on your clear coat and they dull and right back up. And they look like they're dull gray and they're not shiny. So usually a good rule of thumb is to try to go a little shinier than what you're thinking that you want it to finish out as. The only thing left with this bowl to do is give it my touch mark. and then you know, give it my touch mark, and then go to the cleanup and the finish up work. I'll put a picture of it on the end slide on the credits of this video. And that's pretty much it there, guys and gals. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Just another, you know, just another oddball thing that you can do with some materials around you to kind of create some art and maybe even start selling some of your work. This is one of those striking things. You know, you set this out on a table at a show or something like that. A lot of people have interest in them pretty quick. They're a fun little project. They don't take really long to do as long as you obey all the things that I previously had said. You won't ruin any bowls along the way. Expect to do that on one or two, and I just call those forging character flaws, you know. So, you know, we let those go as is, and I just charge a little less for them. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, you know what to do. If you want to see more, you also know what to do. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day, and God bless.